In Taiwan, the issue of elderly living alone has become increasingly severe due to changes in social structure and an aging population. According to government and social surveys, the number of elderly people living alone is rising, especially in urban areas. Recent data indicates that the number of elderly people living alone in Taiwan has exceeded 3.8 million, and this number continues to grow. In this graph, you can see that the proportion of young people in Taiwan is getting smaller and smaller. The population is aging and will officially enter a super-aged society after 2025. This is a very serious problem. As young people get older, there are fewer and fewer young people, and more elderly people live alone. This social issue will become more and more important. Many elderly people face inadequate healthcare, financial difficulties, and social isolation due to their age and frailty. Prolonged loneliness and isolation severely impact their mental health, increasing the risk of depression and suicide. We must pay attention to this issue because every elderly person living alone is a part of our society, and their plight can be ignored. By integrating various social supports and resources, such as providing psychological counseling, social assistance, and regular visits, we can effectively improve their quality of life and make them feel the worth and care of society.
After our research, the current situation is dire. That's why we choose to take real action. After several days of cooperation with the foundation, we contacted a staff member of the Huashan Foundation. This nonprofit organization assists and cares for the lonely elderly across Taiwan. The Huashan Foundation was officially established in 1999 and has been committed to providing free home services for the elderly with 3 types of disabilities: disability, dependence, and dementia. After arriving at the Beito Foundation Center, we met Tina, who works at the Huashan Foundation. She will be our guide in our plan of action, providing living supplies and gifts for seniors living alone. The supplies include 2 bags of cereal, a bag of chicken soup, a cane umbrella, noodles, rice dumplings, and Dragon Boat Festival gifts made by WeGo students.
After Tina showed us the supplies, she led us to our first elderly's home. After going in, I have to admit that the smell is terribly awful because the air smells like rotten eggs and stinky socks. Tina told us that the environment could be worse because they already cleaned it a week ago. In the middle of the room, we found our elderly lying on the bed on the floor. After seeing the wheelchair, we noticed that the elderly was disabled. Our next location is up in Yangmingshan, where our other 2 elderly live at. After arriving at the second house, the floor is dusty and muddy. By peeking from the outside, the little room inside of the garage is also messy. There's a lot of trash spreading across the room, indicating that the living environment is awful. But as usual, we introduced him to our supplier and make sure that he was living alright. Later, the elderly confessed to us that the owner of this house isn't happy about renting to vulnerable elderlies like him. So the elderly will probably be homeless, because the house owner isn't going to rent him the house anymore. Arriving at the third house, this time our objective is another disabled elderly, which makes him hard to go out or clean his room. He said he felt very lonely since nobody but only volunteers would come talk with him. So what we did is we chatted with him and told him jokes that made him laugh. Then, after following the same progress and at last, we finally finished our mission.
After hearing our action plan, now I'm going to introduce you to our social media promotional plan. For social media, we have made a few research posters that talk about the seriousness of aging population and isolated elderly, which we include our online research and data given by Tina. We have also included a few research into it.
Before this project, we haven't considered the problem of isolated elderly people in Taiwan, though we were aware of the aging population. Seeing the terrible conditions they live in was shocking and unforgettable. We hope to use our influence to change this situation in the future because what matters is whether we try.